Okay. Well, trying to get the connection going. I don't know if it's my connection or his connection. Oh, okay. It said no answer, but it still didn't answer. What's up, brother?
What's going on, Force?
How you doing?
I'm good, man. Just finished eating. Was trying
Yo,
to plug in with you earlier, but somehow, the
that's
technology wasn't cooperating.
no, that's my
So,
fault. I saw it, but I just put my glasses on. I saw it, but I know more than one Daniel. So I
ah,
thought another one. So I'm like, I'm waiting for you. And I'm like, yo, now I'm like, hold on a second. Look, that's him. So
yeah,
anyway,
yeah. I was just, listening to you drop a bunch of jewels. You know what I mean? On the business tip. So real valuable.
let me start off first by asking you to introduce yourself and tell me some of the things about you, things that you have done. Like, give me a little, anybody that watches, give them a little bit about you. Introduce yourself and give a little background.
Okay. Well, I'm Danny Sims, and I'm the founder of 40 Million and a Tool. 40 Million and a Tool is a wealth building movement uh, beckoning my fellow African Americans, Black folk in America, to join together and build some wealth so that we can have financial freedom finally in this country. So I uh, I published a book by the same title about 15, 16 years ago, 40 million and a tool. And it's still available on Amazon, online retailers. But I wouldn't advise anyone to go and purchase a copy because it is pretty much outdated now. Um, there's a lot of things in there that really don't apply. Like for instance, with 40 million in the tool, um, we need to put together a leadership council to handle the major parts of the wealth building movement in terms of generating wealth, managing the wealth, investing the wealth, and distributing the wealth. So I had um, I had suggested a group of people back then when I published the book, but most of them are past now. You know, like for instance, Brother Earl Graves, he used to publish Black Enterprises.
Right.
I had him, and our sister who just passed recently, Bell Hooks. I had suggested her being part of the leadership council as well. I had Bill Cosby. So over the years, a lot of circumstances have changed a little bit, and our perceptions and attitudes towards some of our people have changed as well. So um, that's why I wouldn't suggest anyone go and purchase the book online because a lot of the information, a lot of the uh, things are a little outdated, but the bulk of the book is still very relevant. So what I've done is I've updated some of the essays in the book and made them available for free on the website 40millionandatool.com. So no one has to spend any money, going to Amazon to buy the book itself. I mean, it'll help me, put money in my pocket, but I'm asking people not to do that. So because they can get the essays for free and in an updated fashion, because with the events around the George Floyd murder the Breonna Taylor and all these things that's been swirling around the last few years, those are the exact same things that I was talking about back then. You know, um, the things that have historically been happening to us as a people in terms of murder. you know, um, that's been a nonstop affair, ever since we've been in this country. So that's pretty much has been my passion since then. So now, with the advent of social media and the innovations in the technology, with Facebook, the Instagram, and YouTube, things like that, I decided to create online presence for 40 million in a tool, and just put the content there for people to go and check out themselves. And if they want to support this movement and be a part of it, then I'm happy to share that we are on those social media platforms. 40 million in a tool on YouTube, 40 million in a tool on Instagram, 40 million in a tool Facebook page, and 40 million in a tool.com, the website itself. So right now, I'm living upstate New York, and but I grew up in the five boroughs, uh, but I've been up this way for about 25 years now, maybe a little more. And so I found my wife up here, and it's a slow down pace, but I'm sitting right between Buffalo and Rochester, so I can still get a taste of city life, anytime I want to. If a group comes through or something, like I caught the Whispers in Buffalo, and things like that, so I can still go ahead and partake of things that relate to my upbringing. But for the most part, I'm okay with the laid back lifestyle. Everything is slowed down to a nice pace that's manageable. My kids are grown and gone. I got two sons. They got children of their own. One's still down in Queens, one out in Texas. So it's basically, I'm retired. I worked for a number of years as a drug and alcohol counselor in Rochester, uh, and also did some consulting, um, in the anti-violence movement. So, I could still do some of those things if called upon, or if, the need arises. But for the most part, I'm pretty much retired, just laying back, ducking and dodging this COVID and this Omicron and this Delta and any other variant they put out there. I'm bobbing and weaving. You know what I mean? Because, uh, 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 yeah, I'll turn 67 next month. You know, um, got that high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes. You know, I don't even want. It's like when we was growing up. We experimented with a lot of things, particularly like getting high, smoking weed, or sniffing some blow, or things like that. And it was like I hear about that crack and the stories, that people would tell, and that's the one thing I'm saying. I don't even want to try that. If those stories are true, I don't even want to try that. And so, that's kind of my approach to this COVID situation and all that. Um, I got my little shots, I'm boosted up and all that good stuff. But, they got the breakthrough infections and things like that, you still can get it. And I'm like, I don't even want to chance it. I don't care how boosted up and vaccinated I am. I still don't want to get it. You know what I mean? So, because I'm vulnerable. And so that's how I look at that. But to each his own, when it comes to things like that. So yeah, that's what I'm doing now. Putting a lot of time into that. Um, and like I said, my thing is this: I want my people to uh, check out the content, check out the information, and if it resonates with them, then every way of possible to get involved or to contact us, is right there on the website. And, right there, you can, if people nowadays, really know how to navigate their social media and they're savvy, with the smartphones and the computers, the tablets and everything. So one links to the other. You know, in fact, if they start out from the website, 40millioninthetool.com, there's links to all the other social media content. There's a Facebook link right there on the homepage, the YouTube link, an Instagram link. Um, so, that way they can get back to me, and then we could go from there, you know. Um, but yeah, I'm glad you gave me this opportunity, to give a little brief introduction of who I am and what I'm doing. I mean, obviously there's more to me, than just that, because I got a lot of years under my belt, you know, and you and I, we've known each other for a great number of years, 20 years or more, so there's there's a lot of stories to tell. There's a lot of experiences, under the bridge. So uh, those things, can unfold, as time goes on. Because if I can extend myself to a brother, or a sister, or family, a situation, and be helpful in that regard, uh, because of the experiences that I've had, and places that I've been, things like that. Uh, you know, I'm an open book with that also, but it's not what I lead with. You know what I mean? Those things are not the first things that I step forward with because, people formulate opinions and misconceptions and things like that. So uh, my best foot forward right now is 40 million in the two, uh, because the time is of the essence right now. We are under attack. I mean, we've always been under attack, but my last video that I put up on YouTube, you know, is entitled "We're Not Safe," and just briefly, what I conveyed in that was that those same that same crowd.
What happened? I got to bring him back. I don't know if he hit the hang up button by accident. Well, let's see what happens. Will he return? Will he come back? Was he tracked down and packed up by the man, by the big brother? Was he about to reveal something that would change our lives? And they stopped him. We'll see. We'll see. Let's see. How can we answer these questions? Stay tuned. I remember I used to watch Batman, and it was the TV show, not the cartoon. And at the end of it, they'll have questions like that. Is this the end? We'll see on the next. We're like, uh, so, so let's see what happens. He just said he wanted to come back, so he's alive. They didn't track him down and hack him to death because he's about to tell us about the man. and how they have us between a rock and a hard place. But it's taken a moment, you know, maybe a connection issue that's taken a minute to get them. But bear with us because it says it's added. It says it's added. And the brother's pretty deep. He's intellectual. Got me by some years, but him and I met each other a minute ago. It's been a pretty long time. No answer. Last time it said that he popped up. So, well, let's see. Still
Okay.
I just want to make sure, man, after you have
No,
the middle of your conversation.
listen, man. These algorithms are something else, man. You know what I mean? Uh, Censoring is definitely in effect on these platforms. But what I was going to say is that, I want people to go and check out the content. But what I was trying to convey, and we're not safe, is that that same crowd of people that we all saw scaling the walls of the United States Capitol, breaking up in that spot, you know what I'm saying, bringing Confederate flags in there with them and nooses and things like that, that same crowd of people are inches away from controlling the levers of power in this country. And if they get a hold of the government in a full-throated way, listen, our people should never forget that we are the default target of white supremacy and people who, bring that kind of hate and that kind of violence into the picture. And so that's basically what I was trying to convey. And we need to be paying attention to what's going on around us, and especially in the political world now, because I'll give you one little example of what they did out in Texas or down in Georgia with the new voting rights laws, where they came up with a law that says you can't give somebody a bottle of water if they're standing out in the burning heat online for hours just waiting to vote. You walk up on them and say, excuse me, sir, it could be an elderly person or whatever. You look kind of thirsty, or, here, come on and hydrate yourself. You're getting arrested. You're going to jail. Now you sit back and you say, damn, who thinks up things like this? Who think up something like that and then make it a law, right? And so what I'm saying in my video is the same crowd that came up with law that said you can't drink out this water fountain, or you can't enter into this door, go around the back. That's the same. Count these jelly beans in a jar before we let you vote. Recite the preamble. Pay the poll tax. The same crowd of people is the ones who come up with these silly type of things. And so we need to realize it can happen again, because it's happening right before our very eyes already. And if they get up in there in the presidency and the Congress, the Senate and the House Representatives, and they can sit up in a room and make a law, don't think that they're not coming for us. They're coming for the LGBTQ community. They're coming for immigrants. They're coming for anybody who's on their hit list that they, feel like is taking America away from them. And for them, it's an existential threat. You know what I mean? For other people, it's like democracy in action, and we all inclusive, and we all Americans, and let's let everybody live. There's a lot of people out there who do not believe that and will go to any lengths to prevent that from happening. And that's what we saw when we watched the people climb up in that Capitol on January 6th.
Um, I actually have some questions for you, but before I ask any questions, I want to lead off with a statement by saying that you were an inspiration to me to publish my first book because I met you when I was in the midst of putting that together, and
Mm.
you had something published. So you gave me some information that helped me along those lines where I was trying to get things done. And I didn't forget that. So, and I'm giving you your props, for anyone to see because you kept it real and you didn't try to sell me nothing. Because a lot of times people say the game is supposed to be sold, not told. I don't believe
Mm-hmm.
that. If you have some information that can help me and you freely give it to me, you actually make me feel more indebted to you than that I just paid you a price. Because I believe that by you giving me that, you've actually gained more from me than you would have had you sold it to me. Because I might not have been your friend.
Right. Right. Well, I accept that in the spirit in which it's given, um, and I feel honored to have been one of the first to read the earliest transcript of Sons of Solomon.
Yeah. That's right.
So I enjoyed that. I look forward to the sequel, and you know, I think that was a good springboard and a jumping off point for you, later on.
So the title, 40 million in the tool, I know what that reminds me of, but where did you get that from?
Well, it sounds similar to 40 Acres and a Mule, doesn't it?
Yeah,
And it's really uh, turning that inside out. What happened was, um, some years ago, the whole reparations debate was heating up again on college campuses, because, students generally are the tip of the spear when it comes to social movements and organizations trying to make people aware of things, like even the Vietnam War, way back in the 60s. It was the student movements that drove those movements, and brought that into the public domain as the dominant discussion. And so this was around uh, actually the turn of the century, 1999 going into 2000, the turn of the 21st century, I should say. Um, and the reparations debate was heating up on the college campuses. And I just was contemplating, I was like, we got a new millennium rolling in, and internet was still relatively new to a lot of people. And they were talking about the digital divide and how Black people will be left behind if they can't get internet access and be online, because everything is moving from the brick and mortar realm into the online, the super highway of the computer. So I was just contemplating, like, what's in store for our people, with all these new innovations and all these things happening. And now we're moving into a whole new, millennium. So this was like 99 going into 2000, 2001. And I'm paying attention to this reparations debate heating up. And, it always goes back and forth. Yeah, Black people should get reparations. Oh man, listen, I didn't have nothing to do with slavery. My people was immigrants. And that's what it does. It just goes back and forth, back and forth. So I'm thinking, I'm tossing it back, and I'm tossing this phrase, 40 acres and a mule, over in my head. And then I got some information about the census, because you know they do the census every 10 years. And so the 2000 census was approaching. And I read something where it said that Black people in America was approaching 40 million people. And so I said, okay. And I thought about that in this digital divide and the awesome power of the internet and information technology. And in that process, the phrase 40 million and a tool popped into my head. The tool being the internet, information technology, and what can be done with that. Um, and so for me, 40 acres and a mule became old hat. 40 million and a tool became the new thing, because what it does is it propels us and serves in a real cathartic way, you know, for us to get back to the unfinished business of our ancestors of building wealth as a people. You know, we've proven that we can do that. You know, people always talking about, you know, the Black Wall Streets and Rosewood and other Black communities that were thriving, and, you know, jealous, racist white folks, you know, wasn't having it, come through, burn it down, kill people. And it's like, hold up. Why we keep reciting history and talking about what happened, what was done? We all know the story. What happened to us getting back to the business of building wealth, wealthy communities, wealthy neighborhoods, uh, now, especially when we got all this technology and all this capability at our fingertips? You know, you got things that came along like this crowdsourcing, crowdfunding, GoFundMe, um, you know, and then the politicians are raising up to $1 billion in their war chest just to run and win a political office. And these are all small dollar donations coming from people all over the country. So I'm saying, hold up. If we 40 million strong and we got all these tools at our disposal that we can use, shit, then it won't take but like $5 from each of us, you know, on a monthly basis. And we can grow and build and be wealthy in no time if we was to buckle down, you know, and get with a program like that. So that's how the phrase 40 million in a tool came about. Uh, and you know, I'm just running with it and trying to, you know, we just launched the website in August. August 31st, we launched. So, and then I had to, you know, set up all the social media platforms, had to, you know, register the name, purchase the logo, you know, and really just like put it together, because when our people embrace something like this, there's got to be apparatus that can support the volume that's going to come. You know, that phrase in the movie where it said, "If you build it, they will come."
Right.
Well, we in the process of building that. So we launched the website in August, got the social media platforms, page and channel with that. Um, we got the EIN number, the employee identification number from the IRS, so we registered there, and the fund itself is already set up and going.
Okay, well, that basically leads to my next question, and I'm gonna prelude it by saying that I started Black Wall Street Private Lenders Corporation last year in the heart of the pandemic, when everybody was wondering what was going to happen, how we were going to make money, and everything. I was on a Facebook group. It was a large Facebook group of our people, and I was going by the conversation that was in there. Like, this is what we're gonna do. You know, everybody was worried, and I'm an entrepreneur. So I said, listen, well, somebody needs to get together and we pool some funds and make some things happen.
Right.
And there a lot of people liked what I said. And they was like, but who's gonna do it? Who's gonna do this? Who's gonna do it? I was like, I'll do it. I don't have no problem doing it.
Right.
So I set it up. I told people I had it. Um, I'm not going to sit here and say a million people flooded to it because they didn't, but some people have came to it because um, I'm a loan broker, so I can help people to get funds. So some people have come, but the bad thing is a lot of people want money, they need money, but they're
Right.
not able to get money. So, you know, it's not like we're on the street. If we're on the street and you come up to me and you ask me for $10, I can give it to you just because I got extra $10. I might not never get this back, but here you go.
Mm-hmm.
Walk up to somebody on the street and ask for $50,000, $100,000, $200,000, and they don't know your name. They don't know your history. They don't know your abilities.
Right.
So the thing, these people want money, but they don't have a history of getting money. So they're not credit worthy. Um, and so I'm saying all this to say is, what is your vision? Like, how do you envision it? Because evidently my vision, I wasn't prepared to put it all together as of yet. So what is your vision? Maybe I can see your vision clearly and maybe we can collaborate, or maybe some other people. It gives people more credibility and gives them something to believe in, because if they can see what you're seeing,
Mm-hmm.
you perceive it, you believe it, you can achieve it. So let's build a picture that we can perceive and believe in.
Okay. So uh, here's the vision of 40 million in the two. Um, when we talk about giving, uh, Black people give to every cause imaginable except themselves. Black people give to cancer research, Alzheimer's, multiple sclerosis, uh, the children's fund, any kind of cause. And especially if it directly affects them. Like I see, like Cedric said, the entertainer, I see him did commercials on diabetes, uh, treatments, and then come to find out his dad suffered from diabetes, and so it touched him. It was something that comes from his heart, and
Right.
so Black people have no problem giving. That we give every Sunday at church. We give a little bit of our money to any cause that you can mention, or think of. And what 40 million in the two envisions is that Black people uh, getting back to the business of building wealth as a people. So give to ourselves. And so the what we call it is self-reparations, right? So 40 million in the two is the overarching umbrella apparatus. And the subtitle, which was also the subtitle of the book when I published it, No More Waiting, No More Begging. We've been at this reparations thing over 155 years now, thinking, hoping, praying, begging the United States government to all of a sudden, have a come to Jesus moment and say, you know what, we owe these Black people so much money. Uh, it, it it ain't enough money in the world to really pay them for all that was done to them, but we gonna do something. And we've been holding on to that type of sentiment or expected sentiment for far too long. And what we're saying is that, yeah, the government owes, because the government was directly responsible for a lot of things that deprived Black people from the ability to build wealth and be free and unfettered, to go on and do it for themselves, because we've already proven we can do it. Um, leaving slavery aside, that's the big thing, but the whole thing with Jim Crow was about, well, if I can't have you as my slave anymore, you're going to live, poor, under my foot, and having nothing. You can't come here. You can't drink here. You can't do this. You can't do that. That's what Jim Crow was all about, was holding us down. So that's a whole nother payment thing that could be factored into what's owed Black people. And so what 40 million to, what we're saying is this: listen, uh, we know that there's a debt. Randall Robinson wrote his book entitled The Debt, and he laid it out. You got people right now. I mean, Ta-Nehisi Coates, this brother who was at the congressional hearing on trying to get reparations as some type of thing to study. And I'm like, hold up, study? The same bill that John Conyers, Representative Conyers, before he passed, he used to bring that up every year since 1988, just to get the House representatives to vote to say, yeah, we're going to study the question of reparations. And I'm like, there's nothing to study. There's nothing to study. But see, that's their way of inching along towards getting to the final goal, which is having some United States president make a tearful apology, and then the coffers of the United States Treasury open up to Black people, and we finally get those reparations. That is a myth. That is never going to happen, and that's what we believe. And so, although we acknowledge that there is a debt that should be paid, what we're saying is, listen, there's brothers out there, there's lawyers out there who are getting at the government and putting together these briefs and making these arguments. I'm saying, in the meantime, we need to get back to doing something for ourselves. We need to get back to that Black Wall Street mentality, that Marcus Garvey mentality, that Elijah Muhammad mentality, that whole do for self mentality. We've left that behind, or put it to the side, waiting and hoping and praying that somebody hand us a paycheck or give us some kind of reparations in some form, fashion, or another. And I'm saying that's all well and cool. If it ever comes, I'll take mine. Let me get that. But I'm not holding my breath anymore for that. And none of us should, especially with all the ways in which we can generate and give wealth to ourselves. I give like examples, and people will look at it and say, you know what, that's very simplistic, but it's happening. Like, for instance, Black people can make, let's say you want to pursue some music, right? And you might not even be, as talented or, competent and all that. But if Black people got together and said, you know what, hold up, he gonna go in the studio, make a record. It could be trash, it could be garbage. But guess what? Let's all buy it anyway.
Right, right.
It ain't gonna cost us but $10, $15 buy the CD. Buy it, throw it in the garbage can. Don't even listen to it. But buy it anyway, and now we done got a brother paid. Let a brother rap and get on the record, and he don't have to do nothing but mumble. If 500,000 of us, 2 million of us just bought it. Oh, wait a minute, hold up. We already doing that. My bad. That's already being done. But just, you know, small dollar donations. Um, you know, I tend to shy away from the Sunday morning, you know, pass the plate aspect of it. But my mother, she did that her entire life, and it may have enriched the preacher, you know, but she died penniless. So I'm saying, if we can give of our meager resources a little bit here at a time and direct it towards a particular individual or a particular cause, we can enrich that individual, and we can enrich that cause. It just, all it takes is that unity of purpose that we once had and that we displayed to the world. So self-reparations is the vision in which this could get done. And $5 a month, if we would all commit to $5 a month, and listen, it wouldn't even take all of us, because you know, when you talk about 40 million people, you have to account for the fact that, well, there's, you know, children involved in that number. So you're not asking a child, you know, to cough up no kind of paper. But even a quarter of that number, if just 10 million of us adults could get down with something like that and stick to it, do the math. Do the math. 10 million people, $5 a month, consistently, 3 to 5 years. There's some paper there. That's why the next component after that is calling for a trusted and competent leadership council of Black people that have already demonstrated that they can make money, generate wealth, keep it, manage it, and know about management investments. You know, I think about that brother Damon John, who's on Shark Tank. You know, he knows about, like, we all don't have to know about the world of high finance and what to do with money. We have people, you know, among us who are very, very competent and skilled in that way. You know, people who can give um, um, inspiration to a movement like this, you know, who would just speak on it, who would encourage our people, you know, who would say, I support this and you should too. So we need those influencers. You know, we live in a time now of influencers. Uh, you know, somebody who might have a mega platform, and if they say, yeah, I suggest we do this, or, you know, you look into this, or whatever. You know, you got millions of people running and doing it. That's power. That's power. You know, and we didn't have these tools back then in 1921. You know, with Black Wall Street. You know, they probably still was running Pony Express. You know, you had to wait a week and a half to get your mail or something. But yet they still built what they built, you know, against those type of odds, you know, and they couldn't sustain it because of white supremacy, you know.
I want to add something. COVID taught a lot of us that some things are actually capable of happening. They did a stimulus for a lot of Americans.
Mm-hmm.
If they wanted to do some type of reparations, they could do it similar to a stimulus. It doesn't have to be 40 acres. Of course, there's not enough land for them to give us all. But what they could do is similar to a stimulus, come up with a number that's not an insult, but that can put in their pockets. And similar to what was done with the Native Americans, give pieces of land. Like, okay, this is like how they have casinos. Like, you can put this on there, and it could be something to be determined. They have casinos. It could be something that can be determined, like you can have your own mall here, something that you know generates money, but it would be for the people. And I'm not just saying one, because there ain't just one casino. It's not just one of, you got something upstate there. You got some in Long Island. Like you got the joints spread out.
Syracuse, yeah.
Right.
All
So
over.
give us some. We don't have to have one in each state, but give us some and have it connected to our people so that as money is being generated, it could come. When I was doing the Black Wall Street, introducing it, I was doing some couple of YouTube videos. I put in a Zoom presentation. So I had some people come on Zoom and we talked about it and saying, okay, we're going to put some money together and then we're going to buy some real estate.
Mm-hmm.
That and third. Now, I've had people that they liked the idea. But another thing that COVID did produce was more scammers came because so many people were willing to participate in, what do they call them? Susus? You know what those are?
No.
All right. It's a kitty, so to speak, where people put their money in and it grows. They take turns taking it. So they have different names for it, but one of them is called a susu.
Okay.
Some of the Jamaicans that I know just call it your partner. Then so they introduced that. Some scammers introduced that, and they're like, listen, you got to put money in it, and it's like on steroids because you bring two people, you bring two people. So all these concepts of generating wealth got introduced, and a lot of people got taken advantage of. So came upon, my intentions are totally legitimate.
Right.
And it's like, okay, he's not talking like they're talking, but a lot of that got played out. So we know that's frauds. So if you're going to be a fraud, he got to be different. So it's like people was with it, but now they're hearing about, oh, this one lost this money, this one lost this money, this one. I don't know about this. So in order to be successful in putting this together, it has to be a way that, because this was people were doing cash apps. Like we can't do a cash app because it was so anonymous, meaning untraceable. Like you need to be able to put it in a fund or something that can be monitored. Like this is legit and real because a lot of people would like to participate. I know that. Like I said, I was a part of a site, a bunch of, I can't remember the exact name of it, but it was blackout. They was calling for a blackout, meaning that people not purchase at a certain time. And this site large and on Facebook. And so I was a part of the site, and I'm like, yo, if everybody from this site just participated, it would be large. But
Right.
they have to believe, and whoever is running it, just like how you're saying, some leaders, it would these people would have to have credibility, and they have to have their own money. Like if Jay Z
Right.
and Beyonce said, "Let's do it," they'd be like, "We know y'all ain't gonna rip us off. Y'all got money."
Mhm.
I'm not saying
And
I'm
yeah,
just their names that those are household names of black people that we know have money, and they have no reason to try to con everybody. They can just make another record if they want people to spend money.
right. And not only that, they have a proven track record that they can get money and keep it and expand and grow and build other businesses. Like Jay-Z, it's like a conglomerate now. He done went from just rapping to the beat to clothing to part ownership in an NBA team. He working with the NFL now. The club 40/40. I mean, it's like you make enough money, you have to do something with that money. It just can't sit there. It's got to be active. And they've proven that they know how to utilize their money to make more money and to expand and give opportunities to other people as well.
You called 40 million of the tool above ground railroad. Can you elaborate on that?
Um, yeah, on one of the pages on the website, uh, we describe 40 million in the tool as the above ground railroad. And the reason for that is because my greatest inspiration for 40 million in the tool is Harriet Tubman. Harriet Tubman gave us a template of how to get free. Now we talking physical freedom back then. And that template was, you want your freedom? Take it.
You know who's on
Simple as, huh?
my shirt?
Oh, look at you. I didn't, I didn't realize that. Listen, all praises due. That's my sheroes. She's number one. And so, yeah. Uh, and what I'm saying is that she provided the template of how to get free. Take your freedom. And I'll give some props to Frederick Douglass as well, because he also took his freedom. And not only did he do that, he beat his master down and then bounced. So my hat's off to Fred as well. But Harriet was part of that Underground Railroad, and they had to operate under the cover of darkness and had these little stops along the way, all the way up to Canada, uh, running the railroad, getting people free. So that was the Underground Railroad. And so I described 40 million in the tool as the above ground railroad,
Right. So
because we don't have to operate under the cover of darkness. We can do this movement and build this wealth for us as a people right in the light of day, right above ground for all to see. You know, uh, it's not illegal to give your money to a cause that you believe in, and you know you can utilize the internet or any type of way you want to do that to make a contribution to something. And so I'm saying that would be a way for us to take our financial freedom right out of the American economy and place it into a fund that we control. So just as Harriet took her freedom, help others take their freedom, 40 million two is beckoning African American. Let's take what we call our birthright of wealth.
You know what? You already said that there's a fund. How do you suppose that we get some black leaders to at least give it some thought? Like, give it some thought so they can make a consideration on whether or not to support or what have you. How do we approach them? How do we get them introduced to it?
Well, the question was posed to me of, well, how come black leaders are not talking about 40 million and two, or something similar? It doesn't have to be that, but how come the black leaders of the day, if we want to call them that, why aren't they using their platforms to speak to us as a whole and say, look, this is something we should be doing? Now, they do that with regard to voting. They do that with regard to go to school, get an education. They do that in regards to get a job, take care of your family. They exhort and admonish us to do all kinds of things, but what it boils down to is they are encouraging us to just get down with the program as it's already laid out. Here's your way, your path to success in America or in life if you just do these things. And what I'm saying is, wait a minute, there's still a disconnect and an imbalance and a deprivation that was caused by history. So it's almost as if they want to just forget about our history and not acknowledge that, the past, the present, and the future are all interrelated. And if there are ills and there are deficits and things that need to be corrected, we can't hide from them. We can't push them aside and say, okay, just go on out there and make it. This like this rugged individualism. This is the path. This is the thing that they put on you, on us, that we have to make it on our own 2 feet, and all that's well and good. I mean, in a sense, yes, we do, especially grown as men, women. Yeah, we do. We got responsibilities. If we got children and whatnot, we got responsibilities. But we have been working from such a deficit of history and of events and of deliberate things that have prevented us from thriving as a community and as a people. We need to address those things. We need to correct those things, and we need to insulate ourselves against those things happening to us again. That's where I tied in with that crowd of people who are trying to get control of the government, because those people do not care about us. Those people do not want us to have anything. Those people do not want us in any shot calling positions in government or anything. In fact, they don't even believe we belong here. You heard what Trump said about that girl, Ilhan Omar. She's a representative out of Minnesota, and family migrated to America from the Sudan. And Sudan, there's a war-torn, country. So anybody can escape from there and get to a better place. More power to her. I wish that for him. But her family got here, and she's a United States representative. Worked her way through, the American way and the whole nine. And what this dude say about her? She needs to go back to where she came from.
Right, that wasn't right.
She's an American. What are you talking about? Go back to where she came from. Go back to where she belonged. And so it's like, what Black people have to understand And we don't have to beat people in the head with it over and over every day and all that. But what we have to understand as a people is that there is a large amount of people in this country who do not accept us as Americans, as equal Americans, and feel that, we have the right to have an equal say in charting the course of this country and what happens, at home and abroad. They feel like, listen, whatever we give y'all just be happy with that. You ain't supposed to be the president. You ain't supposed to look. I mean, look at Congress. Look at the Senate. Look at the governors. There's only been one black. Well, there was two. And then wasn't there like a black governor in New York when they caught homeboy with the prostitute? What's his name? Elliot.
Andrew Cuomo.
Spitzer. No, back. Remember Spitzer?
Oh yeah.
When he was governor, and then when he had to resign, the brother that was legally blind.
Oh yeah.
I forgot his name.
Be like
yeah,
this.
yeah. He became governor for a little hot minute, right?
Yeah.
But aside from him, the only other governor that we've had in this country was Douglas Wilder when he was governor of Virginia. So it's like, you talk about breaking through and glass ceilings and this, that, and the third. Man, listen, we are still so underrepresented in the positions that really mean something, that really are powerful and shot calling positions. Like, governors, they can call down the National Guard and have them run down right there on your corner, in your neighborhood. That's how powerful they are. They can shut down whole cities, you know what I mean? Cut off power supplies, whatever. If they feel like they need to come and get you.
They're the president of the state. Yeah, they're the top dog.
Right. And they don't listen, and they have worked very hard to keep black people out of positions like that. But I mean, that's a whole nother story. That's just the long-stemmed history of how we were, disenfranchised and kept out of these type of positions. Like, you got a lot of places right now in the South where black people are like 70 to 80% of the population, but yet the mayor is white.
Yeah, what's his name, Pat?
Huh?
What's his name, Patterson, the black man?
Right. David Patterson.
Okay.
Yeah, but he wasn't elected. You know what I mean? He was a lieutenant governor, and he had to slide, just like the girl now, Kathy Hochul. She had to slide in at the Cuomo, because that's the next person in line.
Right.
So, our leaders tell us to pursue all these things, in the political arena and in business and education and this and that. And what I'm saying is this: yes, we should do all that, but simultaneously, we need to start building wealth as a people and stop depending on the government, to give us reparations or to give us anything. We need to do this for ourselves. And you know what? Here's the ironic thing about it. White people know that we are paused and are on the precipice of being able to achieve something like this. And historically speaking, our unity and our ability to have wealth and control the resources of our own communities, that's the one thing that they have always feared the most. Unity and resources. That's why Marcus Garvey had to get deported. That's why he had to go. He had too many black people believing what he was saying and putting their money where their mouth was. And they said, oh no, this man is involved in some wire fraud, so we got to trump up something on him and get him up out of here. And they did just that.
Here's,
So
here's the deal. Once we are able to control our own economics and
mhm,
create an economic system, then we become someone that they have to listen to, they have to cater to. If you want to get into office, you have to provide some things that satisfy our wants and our needs because our money equates to power.
that's right.
Period.
That's right. That's how it is with the Asians. How do listen, here we are, let's go back to the 60s when uh again we begging and we moral shaming, the white people of America, how they treating us, they sick of German shepherds on us, spraying us down with fire hoses and all this type of thing. Guess what? There was no large, strong Asian community in America at that time. Everything back then was pretty much defined black and white. Not even Latino, Puerto Ricans, none of that. You ain't see none of them getting hosed down and all. It was all black people, demanding some respect and some dignity from the way that white people was treating them. So you bring that up to now, and how do you get Asian people from various Asian communities? I don't care if it's Cambodia, Vietnam, Korea, Japan, China, come over here and they coalesce, unified, stayed unified, built wealth, built their Chinatowns all over the place, San Francisco, LA, New York, take care of their own. You don't see no black people working in those Chinese restaurants, not even washing dishes. They're not even giving you a menial job in they spot. And then what happens? The politicians go to courting them and they listen to them. And
Right.
they look how quick that Asian hate law passed.
Yeah.
The anti-Asian, anti-hate, whatever, anti-Asian hate law, whatever name of it is. Look how quick that passed just from them showing on TV a few examples of people shoving little old Asian ladies in the street or
Right.
punching an old Asian man, in the face. And next thing you know, there's a law, a national law.
You're right.
What
And
about where's the anti-black? Where's
we
the
did,
anti-black hate crime bill?
and we, oh man,
You see, so what I'm saying is that America, they respond to unity and economic wherewithal. They respond to that because that's the language that they understand. That's the language capitalism understands. You ain't coming with no loot. You better, get on away from around here. Uh, and your vote, if you vote, because a lot of us don't even vote.
right.
We don't even vote. We don't own no property. Uh, we don't pay no taxes. You know, they don't listen to a word you got to say. We don't want to hear none of that police brutality, racial profiling. Don't even come around here with that. Now, if the Asians start getting racial profile and they band together and say, look, this got to stop, it stops.
Yeah.
So um, what it all boils down to, as far as 40 million in the tool is concerned, is that nobody's gonna give us anything, nobody's gonna do anything for us. We have to do it for ourselves. And anybody that's on the outside looking at our community or looking at black people in America, they're probably looking at us and saying, what's wrong with them niggas? They got they got every tool at their disposal if they would just unify and do something. It's done. They got the internet, they got GoFundMe, they got small dollar donations, and there's 40 million of them. What's wrong with them?
You know what happens? We unify for certain battles, and then we disperse again.
It's
Certain,
George Floyd.
they'll riot, they'll, have their little situations, and uh, they usually, I'm gonna say we, even though I haven't been a part of it, I've been locked the hell up, but I'm gonna say we just to show that I'm talking about a collective that I include myself in.
Right.
We will make some noise about a situation, usually going about it the wrong way. So instead of attracting attention that's going to help remedy the situation, we end up attracting attention in a negative light, which gets more people in trouble. So it diminishes the importance of whatever the event was,
Mm-hmm.
because it allows them to look at it as these people don't know how to act, we should have listened to them, and so on. And it takes away from whatever the cause was. Understand what I'm saying?
That's right.
First of
That's
all,
right.
we be able to get together in a civil way and be uniformed and have it organized so that we have a goal and we have ways to achieve the goal and we go about it in an orderly fashion.
Right.
Because similar to how I wasn't alive at this time, I wasn't born yet, but I'm only going by the movie in the Malcolm X when the brother was in jail and the police beat him up and you had all the people standing outside making noise and he held up his hand, everybody got quiet. That showed the power. It was like, yo, listen, you're gonna let brother such and such go. They saw the power, they knelt to the power. They said, okay, well, listen, we're gonna let him go. Similar to that, you have it organized, you have a leader or leaders, everybody play their respective role, and then we can actually get some things accomplished. At the very minimum, get heard.
Right.
A lot of times, once you get heard, that's the beginning of resolving a problem. To talk. When you're not talking, it's like, yo, you're not even listening. So how are you going to give me what I want when you won't even listen to me?
So just to get zero back in on your actual question about black leaders and why they're not talking about stuff like this, or what will it take to get them to, buy in. I use an analogy of a sports franchise, right? Uh, I look at black leaders as like the they're the franchise, the coaching staff of us, and their job is to put together a strong franchise, put together a winning team, put that team on the field, knowing that it has an equal chance at that championship of winning, right? Uh, and so I look at black leaders as the coaching staff and the franchise, and then I look at every year we come in last place every year. So a shakeup is needed. That's what happens in sports. You can't keep doing that year in and year out. Heads roll.
Right.
Coaches, it can change. The franchise might get sold. You know, players get moved around. Trades are made. You know, they are always making moves to uh, try to put the best team on the field that they can. And so our leaders are really failing us in that regard. You know, because they see the statistics. They see um, that every year Black people uh, die in greater numbers, uh, uh, health disparities, high blood pressure, and any other type of disease, uh, more so than any other group of people. Uh, disproportionately incarcerated throughout the country. Uh, lack of health care on every level. Uh, wealth disparities, uh, you know, what we make compared to an average white person, dollar for dollar, way behind. So it's like, hold up. If this is the statistics every year, year in and year out, we need to make a change. So I'm saying with 40 million at two, listen, man, I'm on the African American team. I have no choice. I was born on the African American team. So I'm saying, listen, can we call emergency huddle? I want to suggest a play. Yeah, I want to suggest a play. I'm
Right.
calling a huddle. And like any play, you call it razzle dazzle, Hail Mary, whatever. Any play can produce a touchdown.
Right.
And so we can't keep playing perpetual catch up.
Right.
Let's try another play. And 40 million in the two is offering itself up as a play. Listen, put it in the playbook, man. That's all we saying. We agree with going to school, get an education, work hard, take care of your family. We believe in all that. But we also believe that we deserve to be in a much better position economically in this country than we are. And we have the ability to do that for ourselves. And the people that the masses of us listen to need to be telling us that.
Right.
So that we can begin to believe it, so that that can begin to germinate throughout our people and throughout our generations coming forward. Our children, they need to be imbibing on this type of understanding, and having that pride and that confidence in themselves when they go up in the schools, as opposed to, man, I don't want no white man's education. Where we get that from? What white man's education? There ain't no such thing as a white man's education. Basic literacy, knowing how to read, write, and compute, that's universal. That's for everybody entitled to have that. But we conveniently use those as excuses, to rebel against something because we don't want to apply ourselves, or we don't feel like, we can achieve and excel. And that's a very convenient way to just drop out of the whole, thing, and then go join a gang or something. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I don't got to know how to read, write, and learn. I'm gonna be that nigga up in Attica somewhere, knocking on the dude's door at 1 in the morning, asking him to read my mail for me. You know, no, we need to break out of that cycle. Uh, just like I know brothers, in penitentiary who band together and educate and teach themselves. They get together in groups because they recognize even in there that, wait a minute, man, this brother is illiterate. You know what I mean? He can't, he don't know how to read or write, but we could teach each other how to do this. We got the time, you know what I mean? And we got the opportunity, we can do that for each other. It takes me all the way back to when we used to go to, the schoolyard to play a game of basketball, and get there and see, oh man, there ain't no rim. Rim is torn down. And so what we gonna do? Man, we each dug up in our pockets and came up with whatever little change or a few dollars we each had, put that together, ran down to the sporting goods spot, Modell's or somewhere, and bought a rim and got a ladder and some tools, put that rim up, hit the net up to it, and then we was balling until the sun went down. That's the same type of idea. I mean, we do it in little minuscule ways, and
Right.
it's just like, second nature to us. We don't think about it in the macro in terms of, damn, we could do some things like that as a whole entire people.
Right.
We recognize the need, then we say, okay, how can we address the need, and what's it going to take to eliminate the problem? And I'm just trying to lay all that out with 40 million in the tool, to bring all the disparate pieces in together, as a community, and not like blame anybody or single anybody out or anything like that who are supposed to be a black leader or who call the black leader or whatever. No, that's my brother. You know what I mean? That's my sister. I'm not trying to denigrate anybody or talk negative about anybody. All I'm saying is, listen, we slightly off course. We need to get back to the unfinished business that our ancestors began, building wealth as a people. That's the unfinished business of African Americans. We ain't got to beg the white man or the government for nothing. We in position to do this, and then, like you said, people will pay attention to us and they will listen to us, and our concerns will be addressed in a more equitable and full-throated way.
You're right. Well, I appreciate your time and the conversation. You and I can always build, man. We always have good conversations when we have time to catch up with one another. So
Yeah.
um, I will holler at you. I want you to feel free that anytime you see me on,
Mm-hmm.
to shout me out and we can build about whatever topic, current events or whatever, because you actually do other things and you haven't even mentioned that as of yet. So let us know what else you do and how we can catch up with you.
Well, listen, man. Like I said, I'm honored, always, to chop it up with you and build, uh, because that's our history. That's all we really know how to do with one another. Um, and so, anytime, man, that I can make myself available, and vice versa, I'm here. I'm here, plugging away with this thing, and uh, I just need my people. For me, I just want to see the makings of this movement getting off the ground in my lifetime. You know, I look at the 150 something years that we've been talking reparations and begging and litigating and pleading and this and that, and all through those years we see nothing but technological advancement, and we to the point now where there's so many tools that we could use if we just took a breather and stepped back and said, hold up, we ain't got to do that no more. We don't got to beg and plead no more. We need to get off of that program and put a different program down where we can get some wealth damn near overnight. When I first wrote the book, I had said, I made a statement about if black people was to get on the road to self-reparations by 2015, right? Because the book came out 2005, 6, around there. And so I was looking ahead to 2015, giving it time to, germinate and, catch on. And I said, if Black people was to start on the road to building wealth on the plan of self-reparations by 2015, in 20 years, we'd be a wealthy people.
Yeah, no doubt about that. With the small numbers you said per person, in those millions of people per month, we would generate millions of dollars per month. So,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
in the period, we'd be probably in the billions.
yes, easily, easily. That's why, to your point, we would definitely have to have trusted, uh, competent leadership council in place, with all the requisite public service announcements, through the internet, because I remember Chuck D has said something years ago. He said that hip hop is the Black CNN.
Hmm.
And I knew exactly what he was saying when he said that, because the music, it's like back in the days when I was growing up, I didn't know nothing about what was going on in LA,
Right.
the other side of the coast. That was like, or even down south, unless I went down there, something, family reunion or whatever. Didn't know nothing about how the people thought, what they was into, the style of clothes we was wearing. It was always different, because you know how we used to talk about dudes coming up from the country. It's like, damn, man, what shit you wearing? You know what I mean? It's like, and, but now, with the advent of hip hop and rap music, it spread like wildfire. Once it hit the airwaves and the brothers, now it's like there's a unanimity in the culture of hip hop because of the music. And that's what Chuck D was saying. He's saying we get news about each other now instantaneously. Hip hop is the CNN for Black people.
We need we need our own black treasury, a treasurer that's in charge, and someone that everyone knows and trusts, so to speak.
Well, it
And,
don't have to be one person.
no, but I'm just treasury meaning um, a system of where the money goes, and it doesn't have to be one person that's overseeing it, but a system just like the U.S. has a treasury.
Mm-hmm.
The U.S. Mint, we'd have to have our own black treasury where we know, listen, this money is going to the black treasury every month like a bill. It could be set up
Right.
like where it just
Right.
gets pulled and like automatically and
And that's just another name. That's just another name for the fund, the treasury.
right.
But
But
the thing is, I
uh,
set it up uh, because when we was building the website, what we had to build into the website was a donate button. And so I'm saying I got to set a fund up. I got to set an account up in a reputable bank, a financial institution. Or what's the sense in having a donate button if money can't go nowhere and be deposited somewhere? So that's why I had to go in and get the employee identification number from the IRS. Took that paperwork to the bank. Uh, I want to set up a business account. It's called the Self Reparations Fund, and bing, bang, bang. Here's the AIN number, tax ID number, however they want to call it, and they set it right on up. And so I created a page on the website to actually show the monies that's in the account at a real-time basis. So in other words, anytime somebody would donate through Stripe or PayPal, or even send a check directly, to, because the address of the bank and everything is right there on the website. I'll tabulate that, put it on the page, so that people will see, oh, that's how much money is in the fund right now, and have the actual bank statements from month to month. I'm converting them into PDF form so that I can post them online if any time, transparency, like you said, there's people scamming people and doing all this other type of stuff. No, I'm accounting for every penny that's sent to the fund. And then the thought it was, if enough people start donating and the money gets to growing, that's going to attract the attention of a lot of our people also. And that's when the leadership council is going to be needed the most, because I'm going to just turn all that over to the leadership council. People that we look at and say, you know what, yeah, like you said, this person is filthy rich. They're not trying to rob me, yeah, I'll trust that they can, manage these funds and, help it grow. I'm going to give to that, so I'm trying to get the athletes interested and supporting this. Like matter of fact, what I wanted to go back to, you had made me think about when you were saying what the government can do very easily in terms of um, like what they did for Native Americans with the casinos and the things like that. I was talking to a reparations lawyer not too long ago. Um, in fact, you might know her name is Deidre Palman. She's the one who took Aetna uh, uh, to court over their involvement in the slave trade, and yeah, and took them to court and was beating them, and ultimately they deaded the lawsuit. But in fact, I put that on the website too. There's a link for people who, to look into that, just for studying and historical purposes. But I was talking to her a few weeks ago, and I told her, I said, look, you're a lawyer. I want to run something by you, and you tell me how, how it sound. I said, the lottery, the state lotteries in every state in the union, I said, that's also a theft from Black people. It was a Black man who invented the lottery, who started the lottery, number running and number bookers and all of that. It was a Black man who started that. In fact, he was West Indian. I don't know if he's Jamaican or whatever, exact thing, but he's from the Caribbean, but he was in America. He was a citizen and everything. And he started it. I forgot his name. I got the book. Matter of fact, I got the book right here that I read when I learned all this. You see what the name of that is?
Running the Numbers.
Right. Now, this book here, when I read that, man, it detailed the whole step-by-step way in which state governments, especially New York, because New York was the first state. Well, actually, Jersey was, but New York was right there with them to start implementing state lotteries. And it was all designed after seeing Black people making this money that started out as a little penny ante thing nobody's paying attention to. And then when they saw how much money these number bankers was actually making, well, the mob, uh, Lucky Luciano and his little crew, they start trying to move in on these brothers and sisters that had these number houses, trying to making them pay, to operate. You know how they did the shakedown game, right? So the mob was moving in on them, and the local police was getting the bag. They was getting the payoff so that they don't run up in the number houses and take people to jail. It's victimless crime, but still technically on the books, crime, gambling, whatever. But nobody was getting hurt. You hit the number, you got a little paper. You don't, what you lose, a nickel, dime, quarter, you know what I'm saying? And that's how it was. So the state came in and under the auspices of removing the mob from the number game and reining in corrupt police who was getting paid off from the number game, we need to take this, and what we'll do is we'll just legalize it and run it ourselves. They took it from everybody. So I'm saying to Deidre, I'm saying, you know what? That's another theft from Black people that's still going on today.
Well, you just said it. We need to give us a lottery.
Right. Run the state lotteries back to Black people.
Let one of us, you can make a new one, but let that one be ours.
Right. And you know what? Listen.
Give us a number.
There was
Black Lotto.
And listen, and I know, even though the states got the lotteries, there's still number bookers in the hoods.
Of course.
People still running numbers, but back then when the states was stepping in to take the numbers game away from Black people, using those bogus excuses and reasons to legally do it.
Right.
Politicians like Adam Clayton Powell, there was another brother, this brother here, he was an activist, in Harlem. His name is well known. I just can't call it right off the top of my head. But what they was doing was they was all in Albany, going back and forth with the politicians saying, listen, man, if y'all gonna do this, let Black people run it. And see, and that's one of the chapters in here where it explains it. And the name of the chapter is "We Intend to Run It." And that's what them brothers were saying to the state, that if y'all get your hands on this lottery thing, we intend to run it. We already running it. We know the ins and outs of the game. We got the customers. We got everybody.
Right.
So go ahead, legalize it. Do your thing. But we intend to run it. They ain't run nothing. They got cut out of it, the whole nine. The states took it over, and the states is just raking in that money. And so my thing to her was, do you think we can make a case to the various state governments? Because see, they don't need the president or the federal government to be involved at all. The whole reparations thing, it could, that's a side thing. We talking on the state level. Each individual state can decide what they do with their lottery money. So I'm saying, even if it's like 10%, just 10% annually of what's raked in from the lottery, run that to the self-reparations fund or whatever fund, that Black people are in control of, so that we can start rebuilding our communities, our neighborhoods, and start getting our people back on the road to thinking like wealthy individuals. Like,
Right.
yes, we have something. You know what I mean? Now we got something to work with.
Right.
And she said, she said, well, you know what? Uh, what you might want to do is take that to one of your local representatives, because they could take it and introduce it on the state legislature level as a bill of some sort. And so now I'm contemplating doing that, but where I live at, uh, I wouldn't talk to these all like white dudes. They're not going for it. I would have to talk to somebody down in the city, like Charles Barron or somebody, one of them, who would advocate for something like that. And I'm thinking also, like Republican-run states, they definitely not going for it. They're not going to do it, right? That's a hard no. But there's enough Democratic controlled state houses where they can at least consider it and look at it and say, you know what, uh, we've been looking at ways to try to compensate Black people in our state for our involvement in slave trade, Jim Crow, this, that, the third, all the way up to today, police corruption, police brutality, racial profiling. There's lots of things they can say. Well, this is a way that we can, at least try to make some kind of amends. So it's
Right.
plausible. She told me, she said, it's plausible. You just have to have somebody present it and let them, mull it over. And they don't need the approval of no federal government or nobody. Just all they need is the legislature, run it in the bill, pass it, governor sign it, bang. 10% of the lottery money coming back to Black people, every year. So those are the type of things I think about, based on the information that I be getting and the things that I read and stumble upon, or, find out about, uh, as creative ways of looking at an old problem. We need to look at, old problems from different angles today. We just can't keep doing the same old thing. You know the definition of insanity, no?
That's right.
So yeah. Yeah, so hit me up anytime, man. I'm plugging away, and we definitely can expand the conversation out. I hope that some people will visit the site and give it a look, see, and see what's going on. Because just like Harriet Tubman, she couldn't even get her own husband to run off to freedom with her, right?
I didn't know that. I didn't know
Yeah,
that. She.
yeah. John Tubman, he wouldn't go.
Oh yeah.
She left that ass behind, you know? So it's like all slaves didn't get down with insurrections, or escape attempts or whatever. And so I don't expect all of Black people to embrace, a concept like 40 million and two, and just flock to it and like, yeah, 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 I'm down, I'm down, I'm down. No, we haven't done that on nothing, but if enough were to get down and participate and we make some noise, it'll still benefit even those that was skeptical or wanted to take a look-see approach, and they'll come on later, you know what I mean? Because it's still about all of us. We wasn't enslaved as individuals. We was enslaved as a people,
Yeah.
and we lost sight of that, man. We got to get back. Got to get back. It's like Back to the Future. That is our future, getting back to the business of building wealth as a people.
I appreciate it, bro. You really shine some light on 40 million in the tool and reparations, and as a whole, our state as Black people in America.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that. Like I said, it's always a pleasure building with you because it seems like the more we build, the more you show me another part of you, the deeper that you get. Like, because I didn't know about Harriet Tubman's husband. We didn't
Yeah.
stay in school.
Yeah. He's a knucklehead. And
That was,
she left
that
that
was
ass right there in slavery. You
yeah,
know? And I mean I felt sad for her when I read that, you know, and reading the histories, because I read several books, you know, even her own accounts of what, you know, what she was going through. Uh, and when I came upon that kind of hurt me, even, you know, for her, that she had to leave her own husband behind, man. But look at the times that they was living in. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Anything and everything could meant certain death right
right,
there on the spot. You know, so, and you know, the type of thing she was talking about was definitely a death sentence.
right. But you know, some people rather live like a coward than die like a man. So
Right.
understand.
Sadly. Yeah, sadly.
Yeah. Anyway,
All
uh,
right.
it was good hollering at you, brother. We will have
Okay.
more content, hopefully, and even more online. Just be ready, brother.
Yeah, let's do this, man. Do the YouTube thing, the Instagram, whatever. Uh, you know, it's all about getting the content out there, and hopefully, you know, if it resonate with people, then we off and running.
Okay.
You know.
You have a good night, my brother.
Yep. And if I don't talk to you between now and the first, man, have a good New Year. You know, blessings to the family and everything. Um, you know, stay up.
That's right. Enjoy your holidays and be safe.
No doubt.
Danny Sims. It was my apologies. He's been on from when I told him to be on. I just didn't. The last name wasn't the same as what I thought, so I thought it was another Daniel that I knew that was watching. But he's a deep brother. He's an entrepreneur. He's a deep thinker, and go check him out. See what he's up to online, and see what's up with 40 million in the tool. This is Johnny Bunting Jr. 25 ways to make 25K. It's just a highlight on the different brothers and sisters, entrepreneurs, and the things that people are doing inside my community and yours, and different ways that they are shining a light on us as a people. It isn't just focused on someone in a business sense as of like, okay, I own this store, I do this, I do this. He's a part, he is the essence of the movement, 40 million of the tool and a tool. And it's not about him in the individual sense. It's about the uplifting of us as a people and wealth building in general, not just building for his own pockets. So thank you very much. Please like it, please share it because I need other people to see it and talk about it because we need to actually engage in this topic of conversation more so that people can um, basically call the government on their promise of the 40 acres and a mule type of thing. And not saying they have to give it to us, but open your mind up to the possibilities of acting on your own to establish that wealth. Um, as a child, when you ask your mom and father for this, can I have, can I have, can I have, can I have, and if they say no, 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 I know me. I went about, okay, well, I can't get this. I'm gonna find a way to get it myself. That's all I'm trying to say. They said they was gonna give us this, give us this, give us this, and this is before any of our time. Anybody who is watching this is too young because that's how long ago this was. Anybody who can see this, anybody that's alive on this planet right now is too young. They've been saying this for longer than anybody's been alive. So it's time to just say, hey, yo, let me get mine. So stop waiting and start participating in your own destiny. That being said, Johnny Bunting Jr., 25 ways to make 25K. Y'all have a good night. Enjoy your holidays. Cling.